He has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J. Loren Norris.
You know, we're in a season right now of, well, it's political season. And so in political season, we have this really strange phenomenon. And that is that right now, everybody and their cat wants to be your leader. And they will tell you whatever you want, well, whatever they think you want, they will tell you whatever they need to tell you to get the right to be your leader. Leadership at all costs. It's complicated. It's complex. It's not for the faint-hearted. And sometimes it's just straight up deception. That's what we're going to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. Stay tuned. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and it really does fascinate me how people who for decades just kind of hide in the edges of life and the periphery of life, and then poof, all of a sudden they get this kind of leadership dust sprinkled on them, or this fairy dust, or whatever it is. And out of nowhere, all of a sudden they become the media darling, if you will, and they should be your greatest leader. They've never led anything. They've never done anything of great significance other than kind of bounce around from place to place. And I'm not saying this about any particular individual. I'm talking about the concept of leadership at all costs. Because there are a whole lot of people who, well, some start at the bottom of the ladder and they will step on anybody to get to the top. They will lie, they will cheat, they will steal, they will sleep their way to the top, they will corrupt their way to the top. They will do whatever it takes to grease the palms of the people who will put them at the top, or grease the feet of the people who are already on the ladder so that they will fall and they can climb up. It happens every 4 years in the US on the big scale, in the big media notice. We have conventions and we have rallies and we have people traveling around and spending literally hundreds of millions of dollars to convince you that their ideas will save the world. See, here's the real challenge is that if you look real close at their ideas, there's nothing to back up that what they've said today is what they really believe. No, chances are they have someone who is really good with words, someone who's really good at manipulation and convincing, who will tell you exactly what you need to hear or what they think you need to hear or what you want to hear. And it may have absolutely no relationship with the truth, no relationship to their moral standing, no relationship to the history of what they've said they believed or what they've actually done in the past. It's just the predictive programming. They've written a great script. They've hired a good speechwriter. They've got a great media team. They can put together all the right appearances. As some have said, political campaigns are won on sound bites and snapshots. You don't have to have a lot of depth. You just got to have the right snapshot or the wrong one. There was a politician several years back who, on his campaign speech, yelled, "Rawr!" like a dinosaur. And the media used that snapshot to destroy his career. Now, let's step outside the world of politics for a minute and ask ourselves, where else do we see this type of thing happening? Well, there are a lot of people who they look for leadership at all costs, not because of the impact they're going to have on their children and their grandchildren. They're not looking for the longevity or the legacy. What they're looking for is, it's one benefit of leadership. They want the title, they want the moniker, they want the recognition, maybe the pay, but the thing they're really looking for is power. And you might find that from the babysitter all the way up to the White House. You find that in other nations where people will fight and literally slay each other in the street for the purpose of power. They want to have all the influence. They want to have all the say-so. All the decision-making goes through me. I will decide where your kids go to school, what they will learn while they're there, how long they will be there, how many days out of the year they will go. I will decide that for you. You don't get to decide that as parents, none of your business. You see them in school districts. You see them in fast food stops. I did stop for fast food, and we did it the other day. There's a little thing that you may know about this. It's called the off-menu menu. You want something that maybe somebody has made. A good example is, I don't think at In-N-Out Burger animal style is on the menu anywhere. It's not on the to-go menu. It's not on the online menu. It's not on the board. But if you ask for it animal style, there's a very specific way that they will prepare your food animal style. Okay. If you don't know to ask for that, you're never going to get it. But if you know to ask for that, 9 times out of 10, your food's going to come out prepared a special way. Well, I was hanging out with a coworker, and she said, I love the cookie jar Blizzard. And so we went to the local DQ, and we went up to the counter, and she said, I want a cookie jar Blizzard. And he looks around like, you're not supposed to know about that. And then he points to the menu, and he said, these are the Blizzards we have. She said, I know, it's an off menu. He said, these are the Blizzards we have. And it was as if to say, I know what you want, and I know how to make it, but I'm not going to let you have it. Power. He was an assistant manager, said so on his name tag. He was in charge, so says his name tag. He gets to decide whether you get what you want or not. And it's not your choice. It's his. Power. See, a lot of people want to move their way into leadership not because they're concerned about their posterity. They're not concerned about their longevity of brand. They're not concerned about what people are going to say about them 20 years from now. They want power now. They want control now. They want you to know, I am in charge, period. And whatever way they can demonstrate that, whatever way they can exercise that power, and whatever it takes to get to that power, they want it. Maybe you've heard the old phrase, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, again, if you're the babysitter, if you're the nanny, if you're the one who's been called in to watch a bunch of 10-year-old boys, and these 10-year-old boys do what 10-year-old boys do with pranks and gags and goofy behavior and silly things and obnoxious smells, you've got to put your foot down, right? You're going to let them know who's in charge. You're going to stand with your nose against the wall. You're going to be in timeout the entire time I'm here. Go to your room and don't come out, and give me the cell phone and the video games. You don't get to do anything while you're in there. There are tyrants who are babysitters. There are tyrants who are nannies, and tyrants who are coaches, and tyrants who are pastors. Yeah. Teachers, school administrators, local city officials, dog catchers, people at the DMV, at the post office. Have you ever been to a service place where you have to stand in line and they've got those little footprints that tell you stand right here and don't move to the next place? I've been in places like that where there are apparently 3 or 4 windows open. Doesn't matter if it's a bank or a post office or whatever. But you're standing in line and you're waiting, and the next person moves up, and then the person between you and the first person in line decides, oh, I forgot something, a pen, an envelope, something in the car. and they run out to the car, and when they come back, the whole line is moved up and you're the next person in the line. Well, what do? Who decides? Do they go to the back of the line, or they get back in the front of the line even though they haven't been standing here as long as everybody else? Did they give up their space in line when they left? I've actually seen people at the window jump into that argument and go, no, you left the line, you got to go to the back of the line. And you look and it's like, it goes around the block now. There were 3 people in line when I got in line, but it took you 45 minutes to serve those 3,000, now there's 40. I've been here for an hour. How long is this going to take? But see, the person who gets to make that decision, they have all the power. And you, well, you have none. And again, there are people whose personality type, whose traits, whose innate desire is that I will make those decisions. I will exert my power. I will demonstrate that I have control over you. I will make you do what I want you to do, even if there's no good sense behind it. See, those are the kind of leaders who found that they will lead at all costs. They don't care about the reputation. They don't care about the longevity. Here's another thing they don't care about. They don't care if the policies, the ideas, the practices that they put into place are good for anybody. They don't care if they're good for the people they lead. They don't care if they're good for society as a whole. They don't care if they destroy economic structures. Again, how do we know? Well, because inflation is a perfect example of a government exerting power. It's not just ours. It's not one party or the other. It's any government anywhere in the world who has exerted power by printing money so that everybody else sees them with all this power and authority. And the truth of the matter is, the more money they create, the less value it has. Nobody cares if you take 8 Doritos out of the bag when you got a full bag. Everybody's upset about you taking 8 Doritos out of the bag when there's only 7 left. You mean you get all of them? Every last one of them? This is not fake scarcity. This is real scarcity. But when people in power are not only driving up the volume of the money system and simultaneously driving down the volume of eggs, chickens, beef, fresh vegetables that are not manipulated and biomechanically engineered, you want to see a thing that'll infuriate you. I challenge you the next time you go grocery shopping. Pick up every package of whatever, cereal, mustard, ketchup, yogurt, cookies, chips, even vegetables that are in a can. And I challenge you to turn it around and count the ones that don't say bioengineered. It's going to blow your mind if you haven't been paying attention to that. That's not about what's best for you. That's not about well-being. That's not about greater productivity. It's not about greater results. That's about power. Maybe you've seen the videos floating around on social media right now that say that in the 1970s, about 16% of the American public was obese. Exercise hasn't changed that much. The access to gyms hasn't changed that much. Many people, doctors included, have said, I'm eating what I know is a clean diet. I'm eating what I know to be the right thing to eat. High proteins, lots of vegetables, lots of fruits. I'm eating all that stuff, and yet I'm obese. I'm lethargic. I can't seem to build muscle when I want to build muscle. It's all out there. Just go do a little research on it. But see, those who have found that they can sell these ingredients because they have the power to manipulate the FDA, the Congress, the voting. They have the power money-wise. They have the influence to change what's legally acceptable. You know, there are things that are on your grocery store shelf today, right now. You can walk into your local, wherever you go shopping, and pull these products off the shelf and compare the ingredients in your brand name products to the same ingredients in the EU, and you will have 15 times more stuff in your stuff than they have in the EU. Same product, same brand. But they've engineered what you're eating. And then they wonder why we're lethargic and slow and obese and chronically unwell. How much money is in the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the healthcare industry, the gym industry that other nations aren't spending? Why don't we look like we did on the beaches in the 1970s? It's the same answer. I hate for that to be true, but it is. It's about power. It's about control. It's about money. It's not about what's best for you. It's not about whether or not it's a good idea. It's not about posterity and longevity and legacy. It's about power. It's about control. The more lethargic you are, the easier you are to control. The more obese you are, the more medical problems you have. The more medical problems you have, the more money you spend getting well. The more money you spend getting well, the more likely you're going to spend that in gym memberships and pharmaceuticals. Why not play that game if that's what takes you to the top? And at the same time, there's an ilk of people whose power and control wants to get down to the last 4 Doritos and fight over them. And if that means depopulation, okay. If that means killing off an entire group of people, okay. If that means looking at the power structure as it is now globally and saying, well, we know who's in charge right now, but if we're going to play King of the Hill, we've got to knock them off the top of the hill. Do you ever remember playing that game as a kid? I think just about every time I ever played King of the Hill as a kid, 2 things were inevitable. Number 1, the biggest, meanest, most ruthless kid usually ended up at the top. And once they got there, they would throw everybody else off the hill when you tried to get them. As a result of that, all the little people, the smaller physical people, would gang up. They would all attack at the same time to try to take the big guy down. And when that didn't work, rocks would start flying. I can't tell you how many times, 10 to 14 years old, we had rock fights in the same place where we started as a King of the Hill. Why? Because if you can't take them down physically, if you can't, as a team, bring down this person who's holding the highest mountain, then you begin to throw rocks at them until they give up. I hope you see the metaphor. World powers play the same kind of game. If we as little nations, little organizations, little teams, little companies, if we can't get that one to play ball the way we want to, then we will begin to throw rocks until we destroy them, until they quit, until they give up. That's power, hungry manipulation. Now, some would call it leadership. We've got to lead from a global stage. We've got to be the world leaders. We've got to be a superpower. We've got to have all of the nuclear weapons, all of the high-tech weapons. We've got to have all the control of all of these things. I heard someone recently say, the next world war will not be fought with munitions and guys and gals with guns. It'll be fought with power grids and ones and zeros, the manipulation of your data. Oh, by the way, did you know? Last count, there's like 7.7 billion humans on the earth. But a particular company lost control of their data, and 3.2 billion people's name, address, social security number, and residence, not just the address on their reports, but the place where you live, was leaked. You know, it didn't take a whole lot of data research to compare that stolen data, that released into the public data, that available to the highest paying criminal data, to merge that together with your social media. A little AI research takes you about 20 seconds for you to be able to identify this face with a home address. And if I said something you didn't like, I don't know, maybe a drone shows up at 2 in the morning. Have you seen that video? Where the guy stands on stage and blows up a mannequin's head with a drone the size of a cigarette pack. Yeah. Power. Not leadership for good. Not leadership because it's best for productivity. best for performance, best for people. Leadership because I want to be able to control you. I want to have power over you. Let me close by saying this. If you're the kind of person who is determined to lead because something inside you says, I must have power, I must control others, I must get them to go my way, I must get them to do what I want done, you're not mature enough for leadership yet. And if you just happen to be the kind of person that has the pretty face, the right name, the right legacy of name, and you're being groomed by somebody else to be the perfect leader, but it's not your style, it's not your heart, it's just following orders to get the paycheck, you're not ready for leadership yet. You're not mature enough. And that's not about how many birthdays you've had. This is about the genuine question, am I in it for others? Do I lead for the purpose of the power to transform positively the lives of people that I lead and influence? Or am I looking for a position of leadership so that I have power? If you're not looking to transform people's lives, if you're not looking to make lives better, create a better system, improve the quality of the people around you, improve the quality of opportunity for the people around you, improve the quality of the products that you present. If that's not your purpose in leadership, step aside. Take a minute for some reflection. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, why do I do what I do? Why do I care? Do I really want to lead because I care about people and the quality of their lives, or do I want to lead because I care about power? If all you want is power, or you feel like the people who are grooming you, preparing you, setting you up to be in leadership, if you feel like they're doing that because they want power, and they're going to use their power to control you, and then use your power to control others so that they have that level of protection that when it all comes apart, you become the patsy, step aside. Apply your skill sets, your natural talents, and your gifts. Apply those to improving the quality of other people's lives, the products that you present. Make the world a better place. Don't just lead for power. Oh, trust me, the better you are at leading your own life, the better you are at improving the quality of the service, the product, or the people that you present to the world, the better you are at that, the more influence you're going to have. Don't mistake influence for power. But the more you do that well, the more influence you'll have. Your leadership will grow. Your ability to redirect, to transform, to improve the quality of lives, that'll continue to grow. But if all you're after is the power, we don't need any more of that. We don't need any more leaders like that. Leadership at all costs, it's complicated. It's expensive. Not just hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign ads, but it could cost you everything. It could cost you your relationships. It could cost you your career, your education. True story. But leadership, where you're willing to pay the price, you're willing to sacrifice everything for the improvement of others, that'll leave a legacy. 3 or 4 generations from now, they'll still be speaking your name because of the good you've done. Not because of the power you wielded, but because of the lives you changed. Lead like that. I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, or Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Loren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Loren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Loren will serve you well.